Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 23rd chapter, Devahuti's Lamentation. Text number 10. Devahuti Ruvacha Radham Batadvijavrishay Tad Amoga Yoga Mayadhipi Tvai Vibhota Davaimi Bhartaha Yaste Bhyadai Samaya Sakridanga Sango Bhuyad Gariyasi Guna Prasavasatinam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Sri Devahuti said, "My dear husband, O best of Brahmanas, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers because you are under the protection of Yogamaya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill, since children are a great quality for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Devahuti expressed her happiness by uttering the word Bata, for she knew that her husband was in a highly elevated transcendental position and was under the shelter of Yogamaya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, those who are great souls, Mahatmas, are not under the control of the material energy. The Supreme Lord has two energies, material and spiritual. The living entities are marginal energy. As marginal energy, a person may be under the control of the material energy or the spiritual energy, Yogamaya. Kardama Muni was a great soul and therefore he was under the spiritual energy, which means that he was directly connected with the Supreme Lord. The symptom of this is Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in devotional service. This was known to Devahuti, yet she was anxious to have a son by bodily union with the sage. She reminded her husband of his promise to her parents, "I will remain only until the time of Devahuti's pregnancy." She reminded him that for a chaste woman to have a child by a great personality is most glorious. She wanted to be pregnant and she prayed for that. The word Stri means expansion. By bodily union of the husband and wife, their qualities are expanded. Children born of good parents are expansions of the parents' personal qualifications. Both Kardama Muni and Devahuti were spiritually enlightened. Therefore, she desired from the beginning that first she be pregnant and then she be empowered with the achievement of God's grace and love of God. For a woman, it is a great ambition to have a son of the same quality as a highly qualified husband. Since she had the opportunity to have Kardama Muni as her husband, she also desired to have a child by bodily union. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
So we see that Mother Devahuti is desiring to have children, to have a child from Kardama Muni. And Kardama Muni also, though he is in exalted position of being under the protection of Yogamaya, he also was willing to fulfill the desires of Mother Devahuti. Now it may appear that how is all these things connected to devotional service? Creating progeny, which means it involves bodily union. Is it all connected to at least pure bhakti? Is it connected to bhakti? Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana, which is giving the philosophy of pure bhakti. So these Leelas goes to show that the Lord and His servants, they deal with the material energy. They can deal with the material energy, with any kind of material energy, for the sake of devotional service. And the Lord accepts it, and the devotee engages material body, material wealth, material abilities, everything that is material which the karmis are engaging for sense gratification. All those things can be engaged in the service of the Lord. Because according to the Vaishnava Siddhanta, everything belongs to God, and Maya means our perception of different things, people, situations. People, things, situations, they themselves are not Maya. They are simply different energies of the Lord. We are the marginal energy of the Lord. We are the energy of the Lord, so we can never be the Lord. We are the marginal energy of the Lord. And there is this material energy of the Lord, and there is the spiritual energy of the Lord. And the material energy of the Lord is a home for forgetful living entities. And the spiritual energy of the Lord is an energy that facilitates loving devotion service to the Lord. Whereas the material energy is designed for sense gratification, for life of forgetfulness of one's original nature. That's why it's called Maya. We identify with the body, which is not our body, and then a world. So it's a Mahamaya, and the other one is called Yogamaya. The substance by itself is not Maya. The effect it creates can be Maya. Can be Maya. Now the effect that the situation has created in Devahuti and Kardamuni is not Maya. How they got wedded, for what purpose they got wedded, what are the activities she did after getting married, how she pleased Kardama Muni. Now Kardama Muni is ready to bless her with a child. So all these situations that we see here, which we read here, verse after verse, that perception of Devahuti and perception of Kardama Muni is not Maya. Kardama Muni is having a material body. Devahuti is having a material body made out of the material energy. Yes? There are two kinds of energies. The material energy and the spiritual energy, and the living entity, marginal energy. So even though the soul of Kardama Muni and the soul of Devahuti are carrying a body made of this material energy, the perception that this soul of Devahuti, soul of Kardama Muni had about their body, about their situation, about their purpose in life was transcendental. So body by itself is not Maya. Bodily union by itself is not Maya. Because all belongs to God. A varieties of activities are created by the Lord. Varieties of relationship between material things. Varieties of relationship between living entities are created. These are all variegated opulences of the Supreme Lord. His creation is unlimited creation with unlimited varieties. There is not one thing that cannot be connected to the Lord. Everything can be connected to the Lord. When something is connected to the Lord, then that comes under the influence of Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. So Maya, how we get affected by Maya is at our perception level. That we have to understand. How can perception be changed? There are two kinds of perceptions. Ignorant perception and knowledgeable perception. You can be in knowledge or you can be in ignorance. The perception management. Your perception can be affected by illusion, or your perception can be seeing the truth as it is. Tattva darshana. And what is the way to manage the perceptions? The best way to manage perception is by hearing from authoritative sources. When you hear from authoritative sources, what does the source speak? They speak knowledge. So hearing is a way of transferring knowledge. Reading Prabhupada's book is hearing, it's a transferring knowledge. So when we hear that, how we perceive this world, how we perceive people in this world, how we perceive activities in this world, how we perceive sense gratification, how we perceive enjoyment, everything will change according to the way the authorities give out that transcendental knowledge of truth. But normally when we are born, everything through the ascending process, we hear very randomly, without a selective source. We learn wrong things. Then when we surrender to a spiritual master, then we hear from him, and there is a perception correction that happens. By Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, by reading everyday Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, supported by actual devotional service that the devotee is engaging in all his senses, Rishikesha Sevanam. By doing that, he gradually, his perception of the world changes. Very, very important. There are default perceptions, and you have your free will to create new default perceptions. Whenever we see something, not that consciously we are perceiving. No. Whenever we see something, your default perception is loaded in your conscious mind. Let's say you see opposite sex, immediately default perception is loaded. Why the default perception is loaded? Only because it has been loaded into it sometime by us, by our carelessness, consciously, unconsciously. We have loaded into it. Not that it has any power on its own. Any perception, it does not have any power on its own. We have chosen that and we have put it there, and therefore it has a power. Now we take the perceptions from the descending process, from the spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada, scriptures, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Repeatedly hearing that, contemplating on that, our default perception will change. Default perception is normally known as natural perception. You see money, what do you think? You see women, what do you think? You see a rich man, what do you think? You see a powerful man, what do you think? What comes into your mind? So how does one, what is the situation of Yogamaya? When a person is influenced by, under the shelter of Yogamaya, the living entity is never free. It is under these two mayas, either this maya or that maya. Maya means energy. There is the energy that influences perception. That is maya. Otherwise, material-wise, substance-wise, everything is spiritual. Like Prabhupada gives the example, electricity can be used for cooling and heating. It's the same electricity. Similarly, originally everything is the energy of the Lord. If this energy is utilized, the perception of this energy is utilized to forget Krishna or cloud our original identity, then that is Mahamaya. When the energy is perceived, used, identified as belonging to God and for Him, for His pleasure, as He desires, as He has willed, as He has sanctioned, as per His scheme of things in His creation. When we see in that perspective, when we perceive everything in that perspective, then from that perception, from perception comes feeling, from feeling comes action. When we change our perception, we don't have to work hard to change our feelings. When we change our feelings, we don't have to work hard to change our actions. Because we all act according to the feelings. So we have to, at the root, it is a perception. Therefore, it is so extremely important, spiritual advancement, progress from Mahamaya to Yogamaya necessarily involves hearing and changing our perceptions and acting according to those perceptions. Not simply changing our perceptions. As I said, when you change the perception, your feeling will change. Just like you take the same object. Let's take a woman. Somebody will see the same object. How different perceptions for the same object. This is a very good example, always to remember. Because that perception is not in the object, it is in your head. How you see. The same object is seen by that woman's father as a daughter. Moment he sees as a daughter, from that perception, the feelings and behavior is accordingly coming. Is it not? The husband will see her as wife. So all the feelings and behavior connected to that will follow. A lusty man will see her. Then according to that, his feelings and actions follow. That woman's child will see that mother. The child's attitude, everything, behavior, everything, feeling, behavior is as per the perception of a mother. So now the question can be asked, what is that object? Is that object a mother, or is it object a daughter, or is it object a woman, or an object a mother, or what is that object? It must be only one. No, these are all perceptions. So spiritual progress means changing default perceptions through a bona fide process. There are many. Everywhere jnana is important. In all transcendentalists, jnana is important. But for us, there is a particular way in which we get that jnana. We do perception correction, we do feeling corrections, we do acting corrections, behavioral corrections. And we transform ourselves to new default perceptions, new feelings, new behavior. So there are certain kinds of, when we are fixed in the truth as it is in our perception, and we are surrendered to the Lord, then we come under the influence of Yogamaya. That is our goal. When we say we want to become a pure devotee, what does it mean? I want to come under the influence of Yogamaya. I want to come under the influence of the spiritual potency of the Lord. Because in Yogamaya, there is continuous connection with, there is nothing disconnected from the Lord. Everything is connected from the Lord, connected with the Lord. In Mahamaya, in our perception, everything is disconnected from the Lord. So our larger purpose, larger goal of sadhana, larger goal of, self-purification, everything is meant to come under the influence of Yogamaya. By following the instructions of the spiritual master, it is not that when you become pure devotee, Yogamaya is going to come to you. No. You can be under the influence of Yogamaya in the morning, evening you can be under Mahamaya. $10 you can be under Yogamaya when you strictly follow something that Prabhupada says, and you want to follow what Prabhupada says, what he says, you are under the influence of Yogamaya. Next, by 11 o'clock, you can be in Mahamaya. Slowly, the devotee in the association of devotional service, his taste for being in Mahamaya goes away, the taste for being in Yogamaya increases. His taste for lauding, Mahamaya means basically lauding. Lauding goes away. his taste for serving increases. Because in Mahamaya, the atmosphere is surrender. In Mahamaya, the atmosphere is lauding. Every living entity's push is lauding, 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 independence and lauding, independence and lauding. In the Yogamaya, it is all surrender and dependent. Surrender and dependent on Krishna. This is a mood. So what Srila Prabhupada, the formula that he has given us, if we strictly follow, morning to evening, even if we are not become pure, that impurity is not allowed to come up, it will just sit there. Now, devotion service has got the power to suppress that. It will sit there. Our service to spiritual master, following his orders and preaching Krishna consciousness, is automatically puts a dam across the Mahamaya, provided you want it. The devotion, a continuous engagement in devotion service of the Lord. One who is in Yogamaya is continuously engaged in devotion service of the Lord. As a corollary, one who wants to be in Yogamaya has to train himself to be continuously in devotion service. Constant engagement. Continuous engagement in devotion service. By practice. Because then only it indicates to the Lord that it is an expression. By practice, by struggling, you want to be engaging in service of Krishna against the attractions of Mahamaya. It indicates that you are serious and sincere. Because ultimately it's our desire that differentiates why we are here or why we are in the spiritual world or why we are here. What is the depth of our desire? How sincere our desire is. So we have to, the way to express our sincerity, because somebody may say, why, now I have become a devotee, why Lord just doesn't pick me up and take me, put me in Yogamaya. Now Yogamaya is when you have when you are free from independence and lauding tendency, then only you can sit there. Otherwise, as soon as the Lord takes you and puts, boop, again out here, into the material world. Immediately material energy you want. Material energy's function is different. Spiritual energy's function is different. As Prabhupada says here, Karadama Muni was a great soul and therefore the symptom of this in Krishna consciousness is Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in devotional service. One should desire for that constant engagement in devotional service. And one should work towards that. And all all the instructions given, all the discipline that is given in sadhana bhakti is meant for bringing out that to push out our material independent desire for lording over or independent existence and awakening our desire for serving Krishna, being with Krishna. Completely it's a different thing. One is natural for us, other is executed with the covering of a false ego. It's not that the soul is here and there on an equal level. One is constitution, one is unconstitutional. Here you have to do this all with the role play we have to do. The material world, according to law of karma, We have all purchased a body. Just like you go to a shop and purchase a dress. Material world, if you see, everybody is wearing a dress. They have all earned some money and purchased the dress. All the souls have purchased this dress. Who is seller of this dress? Maya Devi. She is a stockist. So we have purchased this dress. One dress. Then after it tears, another dress. Another dress. And the currency you give is what? Karma. Yes, you want a different type of enjoyment, illusory enjoyment, independent enjoyment. Here, take it. Take a body. Be free. Yeah, the free will is given. If you do punya, you get. You become materially rich enough to buy, to have a body of beautiful body with good education, body with good, handsome body, beautiful body, intellectual body. You can buy different kinds of bodies from Maya Devi. But people are so foolish nowadays that they don't even know that they can buy different types of bodies. They think, okay, this body, this is me. That's all. But those who are who know the Vedic knowledge of how to live nicely in this material world, they know how to do all the good karma, this thing, get good bodies, all these things they know. One way it is a blessing in Kali Yuga. Nobody knows it's a blessing because it is easy to preach. That way. It's a fact. In Kali Yuga it is easy to preach because everybody is disturbed. Nobody is happy. You go to Swargaloka, you try to preach. Very difficult. That is why it is said that the demigods also desire to take birth on the earth. It's very special to take birth as a human being on earth. And very special if you come across Srila Prabhupada's books and understand all these things. It is good to understand that all these facilities are available in the material world. After understanding that they are all useless. That you know only by Prabhupada's books. Now you know all these things. You can get any kind of body. You can buy any kind of body. Next life. Right? From now you work. That's all. You can get any kind of body. Beautiful, handsome, powerful, richest. Everything you can become in your next life. We know that. But we don't want. Why? Because we want a spiritual body. We want to be in spiritual relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjala Vigrahasya. That is the kind of Vigraha, that's kind of body he has got. Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjala Vigrahasya. We want that. We want a body which is Anandamaya. Not we want material body, all bodies are Nirananda bodies. And in that Nirananda, one sense will meet one sense object, one little get. Little Ananda you'll get. But otherwise, you are on the base of Nirananda. In the base of Nirananda, one drop you'll get here. One drop you'll get there. One drop you'll get there. So we are all beggars of pleasure. We are all pleasure beggars here. Suppose your body itself is Anandamaya. You are rich in Ananda. You are not a beggar for pleasure. You are not a beggar. That is your nature. Satchit Ananda. The spiritual body we want, which is by nature is Ananda. So we understand all these things by the blessings of pure devotee Srila Prabhupada, and for following his instructions of chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping Krishna, doing all that Prabhupada has said, we get blessed with this perception. And then we consider ourselves materially dead. That is what. One who wants to be in Yoga Maya, be under the influence of Yoga Maya, he should think already materially I am dead. Materially, I am dead. If a material desire comes in your mind, you should tell, who is this fellow? I thought you are already dead. Why you are again surfacing up? I have already killed you. Again you want trying to come up. Disidentify. You are not me. Disassociate. Who are you? You should ask, who are you? Let's say you have a bad habit of sense gratification. When that sense desire comes again, you say, who are you? I should ask. You are dead. If you are not dead, now I will shoot you. Finish. You want to come again I will shoot you. You are dead. I am something else. I am Brahman. I have a body of Brahman. I have a body of Sat. I have a body of Ananda. You should tell those false egos, you are all beggars. I don't associate with beggars. Chodo. Bekhari log hai. Don't come to me. My business with all of you is over. My business with all of you is over. I have terminated my business with all of you. My business is only with Srila Prabhupada. In this world, in this body, with this body. Any questions? Gandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.